Life moves fast, and neutral is definitely not an option. There are currently around 190 energy drink brands and over 500 different types of energy drinks available on the market. The United States holds the dubious distinction of being the country that consumes the most energy drinks per capita, with an average consumption of 29.2 liters per person annually. Now, initially, this might seem like a lot of competition for a new energy drink until I took a closer look. I spent nearly a week thoroughly researching PubMed for information on the individual ingredients in Aroga Pathways Drive and their synergistic effects on the human body. What I found completely changed my perspective on this new product Drive. It turns out there isn't any competition. My name is Dr. Dan Fouts. I'm a retired chiropractic physician, international lecturer, and a frequent user of PubMed and other medical search engines. Over the next 20 minutes, we will discuss the potential dangers associated with many common energy drinks, introduce the 3 M's of Drive, and explore the challenges of mitochondria health and how to effectively support them. Energy drink sales in 2023 were $18.5 billion in the US, $98.8 billion worldwide. Number of countries were banning the sale of energy drinks to anyone under 18 years of age. And world soft drinks, $464.8 billion on $108 billion in the US. And yes, Red Bull was the leader of the pack at 39.5% of the industry sales. And yes, there is a great variety of brands and types of energy drinks. The common factors seem to be caffeine and sugar and varying amounts in them. So as we look at how energy drinks compare, one thing that they do have in common again is the caffeine and sugar levels. They do vary, so let's take a peek. So as we look at the range of energy drink caffeine and sugar content, it's pretty amazing. Caffeine anywhere from 50 to 505 milligrams compared to about 90 milligrams in 8.5 ounce coffee. When we look at sugar, what a range this is, 7 teaspoons to 21 teaspoons. Try to imagine what 21 teaspoons of sugar in any drink would taste like. One of the trends that seems to be occurring in greater degree in kids that are in high school as well as in college, those groups seem to be having a thing where mixing alcohol and the energy drinks is the new fad. And this is something that can have some seriously dangerous repercussions. One of the issues is that many more individuals are ending up in the emergency rooms, as well as a higher percentage are now staying overnight at least in the emergency room with medical conditions that needed that kind of an outlook to get them to help with the recovery. So when we look at some of these different things that can go on, we're looking at everything from rapid heartbeat, heart arrhythmia, muscle tremors, seizures, high blood pressure, nervousness, irritability and restlessness, insomnia, weight gain, tooth decay, headaches, and now the list actually goes on and on. In January of 2024, the journal Public Health came out with a very interesting article. It was a review of 51 studies, 1.2 million children involved, and young people from 21 plus countries. Those who consumed energy drinks have a higher risk of mental health issues, was the conclusion. Things like ADHD, depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and more. And in 2023, 30% of the teens aged 12-17 were consuming energy drinks. That's 7.5 million teens in the US. In another 2024 study on sugary drinks, covering 100,000 plus people, they found that those who exercised regularly and consumed only 2 sugary drinks per week still had a 15% higher risk of cardiovascular disease. Those who did not exercise but still consumed the 2 sugary drinks per week, and we're only talking 2 sugary drinks, nearly 50% more likely to develop heart disease. This is not an insignificant thing that we're doing. The sudden burst of energy, which unfortunately ends up with a crash and burn later on anyway, also is something that seems to be a major issue when it comes to cardiovascular disease, not to mention diabetes and a host of other things that we'll be talking about. So why are the sugary liquid drinks so bad for you? Well, here's the deal. Sugar sweetened drinks tend to lack other nutrients. They don't have fiber or protein or fats, anything else that slows the digestion of sugar and delays its absorption into the bloodstream. They move out of the stomach into the small intestine much faster, quickly raising blood sugar levels and overloading vital organs. And one of the other major factors is that these extra sugars that are available in the body can react with proteins, creating advanced glycation end products. We'll talk more about those in just a moment. An example of 2 significantly bad sugars happen to be sucrose and high fructose corn syrup, which is in a whole bunch of the foods that we are eating, particularly if it's been manufactured food. Both of these sugars contain glucose and fructose in them. Well, the big deal there with glucose, it's transported directly to the bloodstream, as we just were looking at. And here again, those advanced glycation end products that come from proteins interacting with the sugars end up being linked to heart disease, another significant factor. Also to insulin resistance, blood vessel damage, diabetes, and a host of other complications. Fructose, on the other hand, is metabolized in the liver, but there sometimes is so much going on that it results in liver disease, oxidative stress as energy is being produced, inflammation, high blood pressure, insulin resistance, and high triglycerides, and altered GI microbiome. I want to focus on that for just a minute. The bacteria, viruses, etc., that make up the gastrointestinal microbiome, as it's called, all these roughly 100 trillion bacteria, viruses, and all the other stuff that's in the intestines and through there. When the good guys are dominant, that is a wonderful thing, and the body stays healthy in a whole bunch of different ways, because the gastrointestinal microbiome, or microbiota as it's referred to, interact with multiple other systems of the body, things like your brain and nervous system, a whole array of things from the immune system on down. When there's a problem with this, there's going to be a problem with other things as well. And unfortunately, the levels of the fructose are so significant that major bad things can occur from that. Some of those sugary drinks and the energy drinks try to get around it by using artificial sweeteners as opposed to sugar. It's going to be sweet, so that's a good thing? Well, not exactly. Things like aspartame, which is found in Equal and NutraSweet, have been linked to a higher risk of cancer and stroke. That's not a very good trade-off for the diabetes or the cardiovascular disease. At the same time, sucralose found in Splenda, look at this, sucralose 600 times sweeter than table sugar. One study found that sucralose can alter the gut microbiome by reducing beneficial bacteria by up to 50%. So here we go. Too much sugar with fructose there is a problem, but with the artificial sweeteners, it's still going to be a problem with the microbiome, and cutting that back by 50% means that, or that beneficial bacteria cut by 50% means that bad bacteria that can cause disease and create havoc in the body are going to become more dominant in sending out their signals, not the good signals that we would expect from the gut microbiome in the good ways. There's no question that the body does require a lot of energy to get through the day and to do all the things that we have in our busy schedules. We're going to start looking at a bit of a difference, though, in how we can supply and support the body to have that energy in a way that is incredibly beneficial. We're going to talk about this product called Drive and the 3 M's of it: metabolism, mitochondria, the actual little energy factories virtually inside our individual cells, which is where that energy is being produced, as well as the overall mood and how the body gets along from that direction. What we're going to look at is 3 different product components that have been combined together to put in and support the body to do what it's programmed to do, but just doesn't have all of the right equipment to do that with, so to speak. It doesn't get all of some of the outside nutrients that are not inherent within the food that we're eating. If it was, nobody would need the energy drinks. So let's take a look at this thing called Drive. Initially, we're going to be looking at a number of different products, that some of which are found, like guarana and theobroma cacao extract, that are found in these other energy drinks. The amount of it there is radically smaller, however. It's there to do a certain factor, a certain thing as far as helping with metabolism, but it's not overwhelming and loaded with caffeine and not needing a whole bunch of sugar to make it function. So as we look at guarana, there's only about 9 to 10 milligrams of caffeine in the small amount of guarana that is in the body. However, it still has the ability with the guarana itself to increase energy, reduce inflammation, anti-aging effects, help with weight loss, enhance cognition, have antioxidant properties, may promote wound healing, may provide pain relief, and we're not going to see anything in here that says that it is going to be causing anything bad to go wrong with cardiovascular disease or diabetes or liver or any other parts of the body as far as that goes. With the theobroma cacao extract, again, small amount of it that doesn't have a lot of caffeine. We're talking less than half a milligram of caffeine, but there are many health benefits of the cacao powder itself. So we're looking at things like improved cognitive health, stronger immune system, lessen side effects of radiation therapy, better muscle and nerve function, wound healing, lower risk of heart disease, reduced inflammation, weight loss and control. Basically a whole bunch of the good things that we want to happen and doesn't occur when you have that much caffeine and sugar. Beta-alanine is an amino acid that is used in a number of different ways in the body. First of all, it helps to increase strength, endurance, and recovery, mainly because it aids in the production of carnosine. Now, carnosine is incredibly beneficial. It does things like reducing anxiety and depression, promotes secretion of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a major thing that we want happening in the brain itself. It's important for learning and memory, and carnosine also plays a major role in protecting against neural inflammation, which creates a whole array of different things when that inflammation becomes too strong. Everything that we can do to help balance that out and to decrease it is going to be a very good thing. Beta-alanine is a precursor for helping to make all of that happen. Citrulline malate also is a component in the Drive, and it increases strength, endurance, and recovery, has many positive effects on aerobic exercise performance, also is a major factor in the nitric acid cycle. It enhances cognitive function in a multitude of ways. Won't get into all the biochemistry behind that, but it is good stuff. A deficiency in any B vitamin is a bad thing when it comes to energy production in the human body. It can negatively impact mitochondrial metabolism and energy production directly. Remember, mitochondria are the literal energy factories inside our individual cells. B vitamins also help the body use nutrients like carbohydrates, fats, proteins for energy through the citric acid cycle and the electron transport chain as well. A deficiency can make the body less efficient at getting energy from food. Not a good thing. PubMed search that I did on that, just looking at metabolism and vitamin B complex, only 94,320 results talking about B vitamins and the benefits they have when it comes to metabolism in the human body. When it comes to metabolism and energy production in the human body and the benefits and necessity of the B complex vitamins being there, as we look at the supplement facts here under the B complex vitamins, you'll notice that there are high percentages of critical components that are specifically involved in energy production. We're looking at things like the methylated forms that are important as well, with vitamin B12 as methylcobalamin. Mitochondria are literally the energy factories of our cells. They are in virtually every single cell in the body except for red blood cells. But in all the other ones, things like, for example, the cardiomyocytes, the heart muscle cells, there will be 5,000 to 8,000 of these little energy factories inside each one of those cells. In the neurons in the brain, anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 of these mitochondria are going to be located in those neurons. Obviously, when we're talking hundreds to thousands of these being the mitochondria literally being in every cell in the body except the red blood cells, that's a pretty important factor. A, that they are working the way that they're supposed to be so that they are able to produce the energy that the human body requires. So, mitochondria are the specialized structures found in cells. They're participating in many different cellular processes. Most important function is to extract the energy, transform it into a form of energy that cells can use to power their activity. Mitochondria generate around 90% of all ATP produced in the body. They are known as the powerhouse of the cell. One of the things that can happen to these very busy mitochondria are dysfunction. They start to accumulate damage and cellular processes start to gradually get disrupted. Not a good thing. Autophagy is the mechanism the body is designed to use to attempt to repair the damage. If it can do that, wonderful. However, if it cannot repair the damage, we don't want factories that aren't producing hanging around. That's where apoptosis comes into play, the removal of the mitochondria. That allows a new mitochondria to come into play there, but it's a way of removing them so that there isn't any surrounding collateral damage to nearby healthy cells. Mitochondrial biogenesis is the process that, if it can't be repaired and has to be removed, signaling goes to literally build another factory to replace it. That's how important they are throughout the entire body. When we look at Aroga Pathways Drive, we're looking at a set of ingredients now called the herbal blend. When we understand the incredibly complex biochemical pathways that allow all of these various things to be occurring in the body, the things that are going to support metabolism, the energy production of the mitochondria, the overall mood and well-being of the human body when it is getting everything that it happens to require. These 10 plants from various countries around the world through thousands of studies have been found to be able to support exactly these things that we've been talking about. We're going to take a brief look now at some other aspects, though, of what this herbal blend does in conjunction with just the manufacture of the energy for the human body. We'll now look at some additional mitochondrial challenges that the body faces all the time. We're going to look also then at how the herbal blend that has been put together, these 10 different plants, have the ability to sort out many of these different challenges the mitochondria go through, as well as other aspects of how our bodies function. When we look at the two columns on the left-hand side, under ingredient is the common name for the plant. The same plant on the opposite side happens to be the scientific name for it. In some instances, or not in some instances, virtually as I've looked through, using one name or the other would bring up more studies. As it turns out, whatever's in red, that was the most productive for the various studies in looking at them on PubMed and other search engines. The black, not so common. Same thing, just a different name, scientific sometimes, common name sometimes. So we'll look now at some of these challenges. Oxidative stress and free radical damage are a constant threat to mitochondria. The various plants below and the numbers listed give the studies that have shown their ability to help protect the mitochondria. Inflammation is also a constant problem for the mitochondria and other parts of our individual cells. The anti-inflammatory capabilities of these plants are listed in a number of studies seen below. Due to the constant damage that can be occurring to the various mitochondria, mitochondrial biogenesis is an extremely important factor in helping them to maintain health and the numbers necessary to provide the energy that we expect from them. Metabolism is an extremely critical function, as you can see by the large numbers of studies below. Dysfunction of the mitochondria is a very common factor. As noted below, a number of studies show the ability to repair and or replace the mitochondria. In order for the body to have good mood, as it were, energy production is going to be a critical factor as always. These are only representative of many, many more that we aren't going to take time to go over today. Use Aroga Pathways Drive every day. Your body will be glad you did. Remember, good health doesn't just happen. It's the choices you make every day.